Is the economy going to collapse? Are we going to see the worst recession ever? Is the housing market going to drop a huge amount? Well, stick around. We'll get into some of those answers as we move along. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Adam Kahn, and I'm the Rational Investor. So I'm guessing a lot of you who watch my channel keep up with the news and what's been going on. Powell came on recently, essentially saying he's probably going to raise another quarter by the end of the year, and he took off two cuts that were intended from next year. So, what do I think? My guess is the data starts coming in softer, and they may not even raise this year. And I don't know what they're going to end up doing with the cuts for next year, or how quickly they'll have to do them. Because when I go out and about, the economy looks okay. The only sector that seems to really be struggling is the housing market. And I get a little oversensitive to it because I've always loved real estate, and it's also the industry I'm primarily in. At the same time, in terms of everybody's life, to the questions I asked at the beginning of the video, it doesn't really matter. Short term moves are just something to get used to with your portfolio. And short term might even be 3, 4, 5 years. You have to give things time, and you have to pick things that you believe in. Now, if you like to get in and out of stocks or things like that, my best advice, and forgive me, I'll do the little asterisk of things to warn you about. You guys need to make your own decisions. You can't listen to me. I'm just a guy on YouTube sharing my experiences, and you have to reach out to your financial planner or whoever you talk to make your financial decisions. But what I would suggest is having different accounts for different type of investments. You know, most stocks I would recommend having a time horizon of 5 years or longer. And I try to have an account I don't even have access to. I don't even look at it. I don't even see it. If I want to buy a stock, it's because I think they're a good company. And I picture in 5, 10 years, they're going to be bigger than they are today. Now, I take a small amount of money, and I mean very small, 1 or 2% of my portfolio, and I put it into an account that I like to trade. That's different. And I watch the ups and downs, and I'll get in and out of things, but I'll in my mind, kind of play around. It's more like gambling than anything else. But if I want to buy a company, I look at a company. I don't worry. Like I probably mentioned Pfizer a few days ago. I'm guessing Pfizer's down so far, but my time horizon on Pfizer is 5 years out, 10 years out. They paying a 4.5 or 5% dividend. When I'm buying it, I'm perfectly happy collecting the 4.5 to 5%. In the meantime, in hopes that in 5 years they're a bigger company and the stock's worth more than it is today. But I don't worry about where it is next week, and I really don't pay that close attention to most of that stuff. Again, I might have stuff that I get in and out of here and there, but I'm playing for pennies and for fun just to see if I can beat the system. And mainly because I used to be a trader on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, so it's hard for me to break those habits. I feel the same way about housing or anything else, and I don't think of my primary residence as an investment. Sure, for my kid, I hope it goes up in value, but for my wife and I and my son, while he's young and whatever else, it's a place for us to live. And as long as I can afford the mortgage and to upkeep the house and everything else, whether it goes up or down in value isn't really a major concern to me. And I don't think anyone else should look at it that way either. I suggest you buy something you can easily afford so you're not what's called house poor and you don't worry about those things. You simply find yourself a place that you're happy with, that you can live in, that you and your family enjoy and gives you some security. I don't want to rent and move around every year or two or whatever the time frame is, or be at the whim of a landlord who makes decisions, or maybe they sell the house and I have to move. If I'm looking at a property as an investment property, well, that's a much different analysis. And then I dive into whether it cash flows and what my return on investment is and things like that nature, as well as my best guess as to what I think the market's going to do. And that's going to be very specific to the area you're in. I mean, maybe you're somewhere that's overpriced right now. I mean, Vegas hits that list all the time of what people talk about that's gone up too much and it's going to have a big correction. I don't know that I see it the same way. Again, just to cover my butt, maybe it does. I don't know. But boy, we have a new football team. We got a hockey team. They're talking about adding a basketball team in time. Like the city's growing. F1's coming here. And not only is the city growing with the sports teams, that means the players, the coaches, other people are coming to the town. And depending on where they're coming from, our real estate isn't that expensive compared to California or New York or uh, other places that they might be coming from. And those are good salaries coming to the city. We're really growing a ton. So maybe we correct, maybe we don't. We do have limited inventory. I don't know either way. But if I were looking for a rental property, maybe I consider somewhere else in the nation. I mean, me personally, I was looking at Houston because the property prices still look low. Pittsburgh as well. I don't know. It just looks attractive to me if I were looking for investment in real estate. I don't shy away because the other guys on YouTube are talking about some big housing correction and the Airbnb market or things like that. I just try to do my own analysis. I don't use any software that they use as well because I think that some of that stuff is probably flawed. I just sit down with old pen and paper, do the math of what my monthly payment is, what I think I can get in rents, and then I try to look back in time over rents to see if they're realistic or if they've ballooned a lot. You know, I had a rental property that the rents ballooned a lot. Well, I try to use the rents that it was getting in 2017, 2018 to do my analysis just because maybe they were inflated during COVID. Maybe they weren't, and I'm fortunate, but I'd rather be a little conservative when I'm doing that type of math. And as I'm getting older, I like the stock market because I don't have to worry about an air conditioner or things like that. Same thing with your primary residence. Those guys, you guys, not those guys, that are looking at maybe buying a home, you have to be prepared for expenses to come along. You have to be prepared that your insurance might go up or your taxes or whatever else. There's a lot of screaming and yelling about how much the insurance has gone up, but just like auto insurance or anything else, you need to stay within your budget. Make sure you can afford the things you buy. So the original questions, is the housing market going to collapse? Are we going to have a huge recession? So on and so forth. I don't know, but I don't think you should worry about it. I think you worry about going to work, doing your job, saving as much money as you can so that you can retire comfortably. There are plenty of places to put it. I love the stock market. There are all sorts of companies that have dividend reinvestment programs so that if you like a stock that pays a little bit of a dividend, you can put it in where instead of receiving the dividend, it can automatically go to buy more shares and continue to grow. Now, if you want that dividend, that's fine too. But I find the longer you own things, the better you do. And I've mentioned a couple times I love baseball cards. I think it's kind of fun, but I try to stick with, Michael Jordan. If I can, I'd buy his rookie card or Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle. Names that when you talk about it, everybody knows. I harp on Michael Jordan because internationally he's known. I know the other cards are investable as well. I think a lot of stuff is cool. I wish I understood art a little bit better. I don't know it well enough, so I don't want to get into a market that I'm worried I'd get taken advantage of. And that's really what I would suggest. Invest in things you know about. Make sure you do the research so that somebody else who's selling it to you isn't taking advantage of a situation. Anyway, do me a favor, give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, chime in, comment. Let me know what you think. Tell me the things you like to look at. I find it all interesting. And enjoy your day.